Hey, how's it going? It's your boy, Challenger Coach Adam Moriarty here to bring you another video where we go over some unpopular strategies or picks that were able to climb to Challenger with ease and teach you how to play it. This time around, we're gonna go over Talon because, well, despite his incoming nerfs, his new Conqueror Bruiser setup is so strong, it will probably survive. As many of you may know, Conqueror is a pretty controversial keystone as champions who can abuse it end up being pretty strong in this meta. You got the intended champions like bruisers who, like Olaf and stuff like that. Then you got mages like Cassio, and now more recently, as if, assassins weren't strong enough, even they started to use it. And if you don't believe me, I'm gonna do a quick rundown of assassin champions who are popular in the meta right now, and let's see together which ones are taking Conqueror. First up, Elise is actually an assassin, and her primary keystone is still Electrocute, but she does take Conqueror sometimes. It's the same thing with Shaco. He does actually have a Bruiser Conqueror build that's popping up lately. For Rengar, it's his most popular keystone. Lee Sin is kind of like a hybrid Bruiser assassin, whatever he is, so he takes it, and now he's actually better than when he took Electrocute. Sylas is an assassin now, and now he also takes Conqueror. Spike, well, he doesn't really take it. He sucks really bad with it. LeBlanc also sucks with it. Kha'Zix's highest win rate keystone is Conqueror, though it's not his most popular, but it's pretty close. Katarina's most popular and best keystone is Conqueror, and it's also with her Bruiser build setup. Echo doesn't really suit him very well. He does terrible with it. Diana used to take Electrocute, now takes Conqueror, and she is super broken with it. Kassadin mostly takes Fleet Footwork or Electrocute, but has a Conqueror setup that still does pretty well. Fizz also really terrible with it. Oddly enough, Zed also has a Conqueror setup that's becoming more popular recently, and it's doing better than Electrocute. Okay, super long-winded, I know, but this is all to get to the point where the majority of actual assassin champions are finding more success taking Conqueror or really other keystones than Electrocute, and building tankier. It's kind of funny how actual assassin champions are doing way better building Bruiser items, and Bruiser players still complain their class is weak when an entire other role is stealing their set. I'm just saying that to trigger people a little bit, but I'm only half serious. Now, you might be wondering, why is this happening? Why are assassin players taking Conqueror now? And the answer is pretty simple. This style of assassin gameplay is just easier to execute. Normally assassins have high mobility and die pretty quickly, so they need good execution to survive and deal damage for the most part. But when you make them slightly tankier with Bruiser items or Bruiser setups taking Conqueror and combine that with a lot of mobility from the assassin class, they just never die, but they can still kill people. This is especially true with a champion like Talon, who normally goes into a fight, blows his full combo, and then either kills everyone or dies, but if you play him with the new Bruiser setup, not only does he still have the damage to win 1v1, but he's not going to just insta-die in a teamfight, making him way more forgiving as a champion, and he's already super broken in high elo. With the overview out of the way, let's go over some stats about the Bruiser Conqueror Talon. Out of the 6 Talon mains in NA who are GM or above, well, there are more accounts than that, but they're mostly just Fui or Yamakasi clones, all of them run the Conqueror Bruiser setup, while the ones below Master Tier and Diamond are kind of split between Electrocute and Conqueror. In Korea, there are 5 GM Talon mains, none in Challenger. 2 out of the 5 run the Conqueror Bruiser setup, while the others are still using Electrocute and sometimes use the Conqueror Bruiser one. On EUS, there are only 4 GM Talon mains with like a billion in Master Tier, though, like actually like 50 or something like that. The GM ones, similar to in Korea, are split between running the standard assassin setup and the Conqueror one. It just seems like NA is very set on that Bruiser style, while the other regions are still testing it out. Now, of course, this clearly proves that NA has the greater Talon technology and advancement and maybe better Talon players, and maybe not that the laners have less roam awareness. But let's keep this bias out of this video and check out the stats on the runes and the item combinations. Conqueror, just the keystone versus Electrocute in a head-to-head is better in pretty much all skill level brackets. Plat Plus, 52% for Conqueror, 54 Electrocute. In Diamond Plus is 56 for Conqueror, 54 for Electrocute, and in Masters Plus they're actually pretty much tied, but that bracket's got like 1k games per rune, so the data sample is kind of small. In terms of item, the normal setup goes Mobility Boots, who have worse win rates than the defensive boot options or the common Swifty boots that the Bruiser one actually takes. Second item, Ghostplate, has a way worse win rate than Black Cleaver, and third item, the highest win rate item, is actually Death's Dance for any of the Talon builds. Now, I will admit that the item win rates can't always be trusted, as sample size isn't always ideal, and there are outliers like high cost items in the early game always have higher win rates, like Deathcap for example, because you actually need a lot of money to snowball to actually buy them that quickly, and so it skews the win rates. Next up, we'll do a quick GPI comparison here to see how Yamakasi, one of the NA Challenger Talon 1 tricks who uses the Bruiser build, stacks up against a standard mid lane player like Bjergsen, so we can get a better look at this Conqueror playstyle. The key things to notice here are the higher average kills from the Talon player, especially before 15 minutes, where he would presumably be roaming way more than Bjergsen. You can see that actually it shows in his farming scores as well, as he's willing to drop waves that a more standard mid laner would normally take and farm so that he can get those roams off. Vision scores are actually the same, which is a worrying trend for both of them because Talon mains really aren't known for their vision control. And the aggression score is quite high for the Talon main, with higher average solo kills, higher ganks pulled off, higher first blood rate, and time to first kill. The only other thing to note for Talon players is they tend to have higher deaths on average, as they, I guess you want to call it limit test a little bit more, which makes the bruiser setup even more valuable because he might not enter those situations as often. For itemization, your starting items is pretty much the same. You're going to go longsword, refillable potion into Tiamat, and then tier 2 boots. Although you won't be going Mobies on the Bruiser Talon, you're either going to get Swifties or defensive boots like Tobbies or Mercs. After that, Duskblade, Black Cleaver will be your core items. Death Stance or Sterox Gauge are your follow-up items, although more recently people go Death Stance. And your situational items will be things like Mod to replace Sterox, or a GA, or a Mortal Reminder being viable last items, and then you just finish off the Tiamat into a Titanic Hydra. For rune choices, you go Conqueror with Last Stand with Domination Secondary for more healing, kind of like a true bruiser. For level sequence, it's a bit different. You tend to put 2 points into W, and then you're going to max Q for the extra mobility and DPS. In terms of level spikes, this build pretty much starts off the same as a normal Talon build, so you'll have similar spikes. Level 2, duh. Level 6, then level 9, which is when your Q is maxed, and then standard level 11 and 16. For item spikes, Tiamat for the wave clear is a very obvious choice, and then your first core item, Duskblade, is a huge power spike in terms of one-shot potential. Then your real spike is your third item, Death Dance, because you have maxed out CDR by that point, and then you got full points in your Q, so it becomes really strong, and you're fully online at that point. After that, you're kind of better in the late game than normal lethality, but still no discernible spikes. For combos, I'm not going to go fully in depth on all of his assassination combos as he's got way too many, but I will give you the bread and butter ones and the ones that you can probably pull off a little bit more often because you'll be using Conqueror. So first up, the most common degenerate combo you have is the WQR Auto Tiamat Auto combo. This is the one that you're going to use when you're trying to finish someone off, and the key is to use W, then instantly Q, and then R midair, making the combo go off as fast as possible. This next one, it's not really a combo, but more of a play pattern that makes use of Conqueror. What you want to do is stack Conqueror up with W or using Q to get into melee champion range and then get Conqueror to 10 stacks. Then you're going to use your R just for the mobility and walk over your squishy champion while stealth with full stacks and just auto Q auto them. If you were doing this and you were able to get the ulti blades to hit twice, then your Bleach is going to one-shot them. Otherwise, you'll need to have your W up to make perfect use of this. But the main thing you want to keep track of compared to normal Talon when you're playing Bruiser Talon is when you have full stacks of Conqueror and you get that crit Q and the bleed off, you're just going to do so much damage and still be able to one-shot backline champions even though you're tankier. So that's what you're aiming for. Full stacks of Conqueror, the passive bleed, and a crit Q. And lastly, you can still use his Q auto WR combo. I think it's called the flower combo. I'm not 100% certain who actually names these things, but you're going to use that one and get a lot of AoE damage off in the middle of the enemy team in a team fight and still survive, and it can still be useful in a 1v1 if you get the jump on someone by literally jumping at them from over a wall or from a brush. In this section, we're going to go over how to lane as Talon. I know, ironic because he's almost never in lane. Step number 1, there are 2 ways to play the early laning levels as Talon. Either you're going to use your W to poke your opponent down and look for a level 2 all in and then look to recall on a Tiamat, or you're just going to perma-shove wave and then cheater recall on cannon. Identify which one you would like to do based on your matchup. Easy ones where you can actually get a kill early, you're going to go for that level 2 all in, and then poke heavy ones where they're pretty safe, you're just going to take the cheater recall. Step number 2, you want to ward the enemy jungle right before lane starts or after you shove the wave into tower, because against junglers who get low really early on, once you hit level 3, you can actually just go and cheese them for a kill, and you can do this once you hit 6 as well. Step number 3, always look for chances to roam or skirmish. If there's a fight in river and you didn't show up first, you're playing Talon wrong. He is the king of roaming, please. This is probably the most important step for Talon. Step number 4, once you hit level 6 and have a Tiamat, you'll want to push mid-wave and then step into the river with a control ward and a sweeper. At this point, you'll have 3 options. You can actually roam to a side lane if there's a good opportunity, go hunt the enemy jungler down, which is my personal favorite, or you can just wait in the river side brush. Step number 5, if the enemy looks to try and follow or comes over toward the wall to see where you went, you can just hop over the wall and kill them. Step number 6, Talon's laning phase is just a rinse repeat of push out wave and then choose one of those 3 options until he ends up snowballing off a bot lane staying under tower on half HP. It really does happen pretty much every game. For the mid game choices, I'ma keep this section pretty short. Talon's gonna look to push out side lanes as far as he can, and then he's gonna look to rotate through the enemy jungle for picks or look to flank overextended enemies in mid lane, and that's pretty much it. But it is important to do over and over and over again. Now let's go over how Talon actually teamfights with his bruiser style. In terms of mindset, you're still pretty much looking for the same kind of plays, it's just you're much tankier so it's easier to do, and you're still gonna try and find flanks into the backline, especially if they're near walls. So step number 1, always approach fights from an angle. I don't care what happens, but Talon is most optimal when you go in from a flank, so use your E to jump over as many walls as needed and parkour your way to a flank or to the side of the fight, which is also a flank, I guess. Step number 2, unlike Assassin Talon, you don't have to wait around as much for the perfect chance to go in because you're scared of getting one shot. So once the fight actually starts, you should look to go instantly to the back line and more commonly just use your flower combo or AoE combo after popping over a wall. Step number 3, it's at this point while you're stealth that you need to identify if you need to walk back into auto the backline members to finish them off, or pop back into a flank position to threaten another all-in, or return to smack the enemy frontline around a bit with your Conqueror stack and your Q. And you know, that's actually kind of it for Talon team fighting. It's not overly complicated. The main thing you want to remember is that your tankiness and consistent damage is pretty good, so you don't need to be as careful with timing your entrance into the fight. In fact, you want to cause as much disruption as possible, very similar to Wukong, but you know, without being overpowered or having CC. And then you want to come into the fight in a flanking position. It's always a must. Like always in these videos, I'm going to do a TLDR at the end, so here it goes. Assassins in general are now taking Conqueror and are going slightly tankier as they aren't losing too much damage to do so while being way more forgiving and easy to execute, and Talon is one of the biggest abusers of this new trend. Stat-wise, many of the world's best Talon players have begun to test out or fully swap over to the Conqueror Bruiser Talon, and its stats are in fact way better than Electrocute's currently. Math-wise, you lose out on some of the burst damage but retain the same DPS in favor of literally being twice as tanky on 3 items. DPI stat-wise, you want to focus on high roaming in the early game and high aggression stats like solo kills and first blood rate. Starting items are Longsword Refillable Potion, first back is Tiamat, or if you're poor you can go Longsword Brown Boots. Core items are Duskblade Black Cleaver, then your full build kind of looks like Death's Dance, Sterox Gauge, and Titanic Hydra with boosted swiftness or defensive options. Rune wise, you're going to go Conquer Domination, level sequence is 2 points W and then max Q, then max W. Power spikes are level 2, 6, 9, 11, 16, item power spikes, Tiamat, Duskblade, and Death's Dance. Combos will be listed above, just remember to abuse Conquer fully stacked, plus your passive bleed, plus the crit on your Q. In the laning phase, you're going to choose to go for a level 2 all-in or recall on a cannon wave, get to your Tiamat, then push the lane, followed by choosing to camp a side lane brush to kill your lane opponent if they try and follow you, roam into the enemy jungle to kill the enemy jungler while they're low, which is my favorite of course, and then you're also going to do regular side lane roams when applicable once you hit 6, and you just kind of rinse repeat this process while denying river vision. Mid game, push out a side lane, roam into the enemy jungle, look for a pick or flank opponents who are too far up on mid lane. Rinse repeat. In team fights, you're gonna get that flank off, all in the back line as quickly as possible, and because you're tankier, you can actually go in early and cause disruption without actually dying. That's it folks for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for a champion or player to be featured on the next one, let me know in the comment section below, or if you have any suggestions on how to make the video series better. Be sure to check out our other content on this channel as well as at Mobalytics.gg. As always, I'm the Napoleon of League of Legends, out of Moriarty Isles, and may the new and old solo queue gods be with you.